Ye mateys, you ready to get some help on your pirate project? Here we go. All right, we are going to do C number 3 together. Lucky you, if you haven't completed C number 3, I'm going to walk you through every step of the way. This should also help you with C number 2 and C number 4 because they're the same types of steps, just different problems. So I tried to pick C number 3 because I actually think it's the most difficult C that we're going to do together. So I'm going to zoom in on each section. We're first going to do this one, second, this one, third, and fourth, and you'll kind of see that along the way. Okay, so this is the first one. As you can see, it's the one that's on this section of your worksheet, and we are going to graph all 3 of these inequalities here. I should erase that. I'm going to do the first one in purple. So let's go ahead and do that. First, we want to put them in y equals mx plus b form. Now, on this one, we notice that there is no x. So we just have this 6. So think about, we could say 0x plus 6 would be another way we could write that. So what we're doing is we're going to the 6 on the y. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to put a dot there. Now, if this were y equals 6, then we would say everything is going to be right on that line of y equaling 6. So y would be 6 no matter what the x would be. Now this is similar, only it's saying y is less than 6. So we want to make, instead of making a solid line, we want to make it dotted because it doesn't include that 6. So remember, when it's a y, I'm going to say equals, we're going this way. And an x equals, we're going this way. And if it's an inequality, then we have to shade. Okay, so this says y is less than 6. Let's try this point 0, 0 to test it. If we put 0, 0 in there, all we have is a 0 for y. Is that a true statement? Is 0 less than 6? I hope you said yes, 0 is less than 6. So that means everything that's on this side that's true, we're going to shade it all one color. I'm shading this one purple. I'm calling this one my purple equation. And everything that's below the 6, the line of y equals, or y is less than 6 is going to be shaded because these are all the things that are true. Could y be 7? No, but it could be anything that's less than 6. All right, so let's do the second part. I'm going to make that one blue. Oops, I've got the wrong pen. Try that again, blue. There we go. Okay, I want this to look like y equals mx plus b. Right now, it doesn't. So I'm going to rewrite this over here. Y minus 4 is less than 5/6 x. And I'm pretending like this less than sign here is just an equal sign for now. The biggest difference is if I multiply or I divide by a negative number, I do have to switch that sign. I have to make it its opposite. For this problem, we don't have to worry about that. I want the y to be by itself on the left-hand side. So just this. So I want to get rid of this piece. To get rid of minus 4, I'm going to add 4. What I do to one side, I do to the other. And I can make 2 sides here. So those are going to cancel out. And I have y on the left. Since I didn't multiply or divide by a negative, I still have that as a less than sign. And then I'm going to leave this looking like a fraction. And I'm going to put the plus 4 at the end. Now it looks like y equals mx plus b. We've got our slope and we've got our y-intercept. So I'm going to start at my y-intercept 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and put a dot. Okay, then I'm going to count with my slope. Since I have a rise of 5 and a run of 6, I'm going to count up 5 over 6. So from this point here, I'm going up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I normally wouldn't draw this line I just drew. I just wanted you to see how I was counting. So, okay. Here we go. Now I can't put a second dot, but I could go backwards. So the opposite of going up 5 to the right 6 would be going down 5 to the left 6. So I'm going to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's that point. And you can see that it forms a line with those other dots. Now, since this says y is less than, it cannot equal this line. So we want it to be a dotted line again to show that it doesn't equal that. Okay. And now I have to decide where I'm going to shade. So I'm going to test this point again, this 0, 0 point. It's always the easiest point to test if it's not right on the line. So when I plug in 0 for x and I plug in 0 for y, this side I just get 0. These two things always cancel out because whenever you multiply by 0, it's always going to equal 0. So it basically gets rid of the term that's multiplied times the x, and you're left with whatever the y-intercept was. So let's rewrite this and say if it's true or not true. So is 0 less than 4? Yes, 0 is less than 4. So since this point here is true, then I'm going to take and I'm going to color in everything that's on the true side in blue. Now you see that I have some doubly shaded parts here. Almost all of it is doubly shaded. That's the solution to my two equations. This is unique. On this one, I actually have 3 equations. So I'm going to go ahead and do the third one and find out what is triply shaded, and that's where I'm going to travel. So again, I've got my 2y is greater than or equal to x minus 14. I want the y all by itself. To get it all by itself, right now it's being multiplied times 2, so I'm going to do the opposite of multiplying times 2. I'm going to divide by 2. I'm going to divide this whole side by 2. Okay, so on this side I have y is greater than or equal to, and then if I have x divided by 2, another way to write that is 1/2 x. Think of it as this being 1x and always making a fraction out of that coefficient. Okay, so 1/2 and then the x, and then I'm going to take this as a negative 14 divided by 2, and I get negative 7 or minus 7. So now I'm going to graph this. I'm going to start at negative 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and I'm going to use my slope of 1 over 2, going up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Oops, ignore that. I'll make my dots bigger so you can ignore that small dot. Up 1 over 2. I'm going to go the other way. Down 1, backwards 2, down 1, backwards 2. Okay, and I'm going to make that line a solid line. It's solid because it could equal that line, and that's what this little line underneath it indicates, that it's going to be a solid line. If you don't see that line underneath, it's going to be dotted. Now I'm going to try this point again, 0, 0. I'm going to plug it in. 0 on the left. If I make this 0, it erases that term, so I have negative 7. Is 0 greater than or equal to negative 7? Yes, it is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill in everything above this line with orange. And now you can see that there is a section here. I'm going to show it in black here. This section right here is triply shaded. So this is a solution to all 3 of those equations. Now you don't have to color yours black, but I'm just trying to make it really obvious so that you can see the part that is our solution to everything that we did here. Now if we're looking, this part right here is only a solution to the orange one. This part right here is only a solution to the purple one. Or sorry, yeah, purple. And I guess blue didn't have anything that was specific just to itself. It overlapped the whole way. Okay, let's move on to another section. We're going to try and do this one a teensy bit faster. Otherwise, my video will just be really long. So I'm going to do this one next. I'm going to get rid of that divided by 2. So let me rewrite this. All right, so I want to get y by itself on the left-hand side. To do that, I'm going to multiply times 2. I'm going to multiply this entire thing times 2. Okay, so if I take 1/8 times 2, I get 2/8 or 1/4 x, and you are welcome to use a calculator to do that calculation. And 4 times 2 is 8, so plus 8. And on the the left-hand side, I have y. I didn't multiply or divide by a negative, so it still looks like that. I'm going to go up to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to apply my slope up 1 over 4. Okay, up 1 over 4. And down 1, backwards 4. Okay, and that should be a solid line. And I'm going to test the point 0, 0. When I do 0, 0, I got a 0 for y, a 0 for x. So I have 0 is less than or equal to 8. Is that true? Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and shade everything that's on the side of the line where the 0, 0 point was. Okay. And I'm going to do my second one. Oops. Y is less than or greater than or equal to -2. So that one just tells me exactly where I am, down to -2. And that line is going to go across, and it's going to be solid. It's going to go straight across on the -2 line, because this is basically saying the slope is 0, right? Because we've got no x's, that's 0x. Now I need to decide, is 0, 0 a solution or not a solution? So if I plug in a 0 over here, is 0 greater than or equal to -2? So we ask ourselves, is that true or false? It's true. So I'm going to go ahead and color in everything that's above here. And that would mean this entire section is doubly shaded. Okay, so that should be our route for this C. Now, if you have already done C number 2, hopefully you ended at letter H up here, because that will help you to know that, okay, good, we started our route over here on H and we match up. It's barely coming through this corner, but it is coming through the corner, so it's coming through at H. If you ended C number 2 at a different place, you might want to go back and check your work. Okay, this one is located right here. We are going to do, we'll start with a blue one. Okay, so I'm going to write this again. Y minus 5 all divided by 2 is less than -x over 3. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get rid of the divided by 2 by multiplying times 2 on both sides. Think of this as 2 over 1. So now I'm down to y minus 5 is less than, if I take the top times my top, I've got 2x, and my bot times my bot, I got 3. I'm going to keep the negative sign out front, so -2/3 x, and I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So now I have y is less than -2/3 x plus 5. I'm going to go to the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to apply the slope down 2 over 3, 1, 2, 3, down 2 over 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to do it opposite, up 2, backwards 3. And I'm going to make my line dotted because it is not equal to that line. I'm going to test the point 0, 0. So I'm going to plug 0 in here and 0 in there. So is 0 less than 5? Another true statement. So I'm going to shade everything below the line because 0, 0 is below that line. Okay, and I've got 3 again here. I'm going to erase this really quickly. Oopsies. So that I can write the next one. I used up a lot of my space. Okay, let's do the next one. We'll do it in purple. Okay, so I've got 3y is greater than -3x minus 9. I want to get rid of this 3, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Y is greater than, this is going to be -1x. This is going to be -3. I'm going to graph this by going to the -3, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to go make that a fraction, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, and the opposite direction, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Okay, and then I'm going to make this a dotted line because it also is not equal to, it almost looks like a dotted line before I even connected it. It also does not have an equal to underneath it. So now I'm going to test the point 0, 0. If there's a 0 here and a 0 here, I have negative 3 on this side. Is 0 greater than negative 3? Yes, 0 is greater than negative 3. So I'm going to shade everything that's above this line. See that overlap right now? We're going to test one more point. We'll go ahead and use orange. Okay, this one says negative y. So think of this as negative 1y is less than or equal to 6. Now, I need to change this sign. So I'm going to change the sign in the middle. So I want to make that from a negative to a positive, which means I'm flipping this sign around, and we learned about that a couple chapters ago. So I'm going to go to the negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put a dot. And I'm going to make a line that's solid because it could be equal to this line. Okay. I'm going to test the point 0, 0. So I'm going to plug in a 0 for y. There is no x. Is this true? Is 0 greater than or equal to negative 6? That sounds true to me. And so I'm going to shade everything that's above the line. Okay, we happen to have the same section triply shaded as what was doubly shaded before. I shouldn't say that. It does cut off a little bit here. I accidentally shaded too much down in this section. So it comes out right there on the side. And we have one more square left. Let's finish it up. Okay, so the last square has several things to graph. Let's start with a purple graph. So for this one, I'm going to write it out. 2y plus x is less than or equal to x minus 4. I'm going to get those x's together first. So I'm going to subtract an x from both sides. Now, you'll notice something special. The x's cancel out, and that's okay. So now I have 2y is less than or equal to negative 4. Divide both sides by 2. And y is less than or equal to negative 2. I didn't multiply or divide by any negatives, so I'm going to go ahead and make a solid line at the negative 2 of y. So remember, this is kind of like having 0 x's, and that's what we did. We had 1x minus 1x, which would be 0x if we wanted to write it out. All right, I need to test the point 0, 0. I'm going to put a 0 here. Is 0 less than or equal to negative 2? That is false. Okay, we haven't had a false in a while. So if it's false, it means that up above the line is where the point 0, 0 is. So everything that's above the line is false. So I'm going to shade everything that's below the line. Okay. And now let's do the next one. I'm going to erase this again. I'm going to try to erase it again. Here we go. Nope. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to do the next one in orange. I've got 5y is greater than 6x minus 40. I want to get rid of the 5, so I'm going to divide both sides by 5. On this side, I have y is greater than 6 divided by 5 doesn't go evenly, so I'm just going to write 6/5 x. And negative 40 divided by 5 is negative 8, so I'm going to write negative 8. I'm going to go to the negative 8. So that was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to go up 6 over 5. Okay, I'm going to draw that as a dotted line. And I'm going to figure out my shading. I'm going to test the point 0, 0. Plug in a 0 here, that's a 0. Plug in a 0 here, that becomes 0. So I have negative 8 on this side. Is 0 greater than negative 8? It is. So I'm going to shade everything on the side that says 0, 0. So that's almost my entire thing here is shaded. There we go. All right. The last one I'll do in blue. Let me erase really quickly. So I have some room to write. Okay, the blue one, y plus 3 divided by negative 5 is greater than x divided by 4. All right, so since I want to have y alone, I'm going to multiply times negative 5 on both sides. I am multiplying times a negative number, so I need to change the sign. So I'm going to go ahead and change the sign right now, so don't forget this side is y plus 3. This side, when I multiply times 5, negative 5, think about it as negative 5 over 1. And take the top times the top, negative 5, x, bot times the bot over 4. Okay, so I'm going to write this as negative 5 fourths x. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Y is less than negative 5 fourths x minus 3. I'm going to go to negative 3. I'm going to go down 5 over 4. Okay, and I'm going to go the opposite direction, up 5 over 4 the other way. Okay, and this is going to be a dotted line. And I need to figure out where I shade. So I'm going to plug in a 0 for each. 0 and 0. Is this true? Is 0 less than negative 3? That is not true. So I want to shade everything below the line. Okay, so if I'm looking for the spots that are triply shaded, it looks like the only spots triply shaded is here. This is the only section that I have triply shaded. All right, so when we put all those together, it ends up looking like this. Okay, so these are all of our triply shaded parts. So this was triply shaded, down through here, and out letter K. Okay, so it says now you can see that C number 2 should have ended right here at your H, and then C number 4 should start at K, and that should help you to check your other answers as you go. Good luck. Have fun.